Welcome to SAT TV News. I am Larry Larrock, your presenter. In our top stories, 7 to contest for Miss Dominica 2014. U.S. corruption complaint filed over St. Lucia oil agreement. Kenya launches new railway through its South Sudan and Burundi. And sports, Dominica to face St. Lucia in friendly international matches. Details of these will follow. Welcome back. For the financial year 2012 to 2013, the Aid Bank, the Agricultural, Industrial and Development Bank, has once more seen an increase in its net worth despite continuous economic challenges. The 21st Annual General Meeting of the shareholders of the bank was held at the Atlantic View Resort and Spa in Ansdime on Wednesday, November 27th, coordinated by the ladies on the Board of Directors.
I am pleased to report that net profit was EC 1.3 million for the year, an improvement of 28.59% when compared with net profit of EC 1.01 million in the previous year.
Mr. Charles noted that a more focused approach was given to the management and quality of the bank's assets. While achievements have been tempered by slower than expected recovery in the global environment and challenging market conditions, the bank recorded steady gains in most of its major objectives.
The comprehensive transformation of the bank continued on many fronts in 2013. The bank, after reviewing its strategic objectives, continues to forge ahead with the implementation of its strategic plan 2009 to 2014 in support of the government of Dominica's growth and social protection strategy.
During the first 4 years into its strategic plan, the Aid Bank approved loans amounting to EC 137.50 million for productive sector enterprises, infrastructure, and social sector development. Moving forward, the bank will commence preparation for its new 5-year strategy for the period 2014 to 2019.
One of its key goals will be growth-centered development with a special emphasis on investments which foster employment, particularly among young persons. The bank, motivated by the maxim that villages create jobs, will be mounting outreach programs before the end of this year.
This year, the bank also partnered with private cooperative Claire Harbour to sponsor a Queen contestant for this year's Carnival Queen pageant. She placed first in the competition. In more news, the Commonwealth of Dominica Police Force CDPF on Thursday, November 20th received 90 patrol motorcycles, 250 police safety sunglasses, and other crime-fighting accessories from the People's Republic of China to assist in their continued efforts to curb crime on the island. Minister of State in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs with responsibility for national security, Honorable Alvin Bernard, who accepted the donation on behalf of the CDPF, said he was delighted to receive this gift from the government of the People's Republic of China.
The government of Dominica has always made law enforcement, reduction of crime, and public safety as an important aspect of its development program. We understand this to be a necessary prerequisite for national development and the well-being of our people. The government has taken many steps in that regard thus far. We have enacted new laws and amended existing laws in order to address the problems and the deficiencies as it applies to traditional crime activity as well as new forms of crime.
Mr. Bernard says these much appreciated motorcycles will significantly assist the Dominica Police Force in executing its duties in the management and reduction of crime. According to Mr. Bernard, in recent times there have been many concerns as it relates to crime in Dominica. Chinese ambassador to Dominica, His Excellency Wang Zhongli, who made the presentation on behalf of his country, said, "Security is extremely important on the nature isle of Dominica, especially as a tourist destination."
I'm very honored to sign the agreement for providing logistic materials to the police force between Mr. Savarin and I. And just a few days ago, last Monday, I paid farewell call His Excellency Mr. Savarin. He thanked to my government and people for giving the gifts to the police force. Why I told you this story is because I think it's a token of friendship between I and His Excellency President Savarin.
The ambassador added, these motorcycles will be used to combat crime. Chief of Police Daniel Carbon said, these motorcycles will be used firstly to prevent, then combat crime.
We'll use them properly, we'll manage them properly. We need some training because we have to have police officers, quite a bit of police officers, to be trained and to use those bikes effectively. I would like to take the opportunity to, as I did, express my profound gratitude to the Ambassador Wang and the government and people of China for that huge, tangible contribution to the police force, the government, and by extension, the people of Dominica. I understand that he's leaving in December, and so I also take the opportunity to wish him and his family well. All the best in the future.
The motorcycles, he said, will be deployed almost immediately to patrol the streets of Roseau to also assist in the number of vehicular accidents that occur in and around the city. The remaining motorcycles will be deployed in stages to the out districts and the police station in Portsmouth. In more news, the government of Dominica is again allowing each household the opportunity to bring in 2 barrels for the Christmas season without having to pay the normal customs duties and port charges to carry those barrels. Each barrel should either contain foodstuff, clothing, toiletries, and toys, and the value of the item should not exceed $1,500 to qualify for the concession. Recipients of barrels will be required to pay a flat port charge of $10 to the Dominica Air and Seaport Authority (DASPA) for charges related to handling and storing of the barrels. Recipients shall be exempt from customs import duty and customs service charge on the said barrel. The items in the barrel should be for personal use and not commercial use. This program commenced on Thursday, November 28, 2013 and will end on Monday, January 13, 2014. In other stories, the Dominica Festivals Committee (DFC) has once again embarked on a journey to sift out among the best one young lady to be crowned Miss Dominica 2014. On Thursday, November 28th, 7 young ladies accompanied by their chaperones signed their contracts confirming their participation in the Miss Dominica 2014 pageant, scheduled to take place on February 22, 2014.
Mas Dominique, the real Mas, once again presents, through the lens of a strong traditional culture, the chance for Dominica to showcase traditional village carnival elements, individuals, groups, costume designs, bands from across the island.
It also serves to create a platform for business partners to support the traditional cultures and for visitors and returning nationals to positively engage in the development of the island. The Carnival Queen pageant is part of Mas Dominic 2014, the Real Mas, Dominica's highly acclaimed carnival celebration.
You know, you make the Queen Show, and the Queen Show is a big part of Carnival for us. Carnival is a big part of Dominica's tourism product, and we're trying to get to 90,000 by 2015. So we have to make sure that that the people are encouraged and incented to come to Dominica, for Carnival, and to come to Dominica to view the Queen Show. And so you are, by extension, playing a role in promoting the destination, not only for Carnival in terms of people coming in, but in terms of your reign, you will be going out to represent.
He warned the young ladies to be prepared for hard work, as the journey ahead is not an easy one. The 7 young ladies who will compete for the title include Miss Jewel Bianca Brown representing the community of Point Michelle, Miss Shalina Samuel representing the village of Stock Farm, and Miss Octavia Prosper representing the villages of Laplin and Dalis. Other contestants include Miss Roya J. Laura from the community of Portsmouth, Miss Donella Rivia representing the capital city Roseau, Miss Francine Tiffany Barron representing the village of Granby, and Miss Torrance Bonita Dorset representing the community of Marigot.
It is the success of the Aid Bank in implementing its programs that has persuaded government to make available another $5 million to the bank for on lending for special mortgages. The reputation of the government in delivering on its promises is well known. Like all others before it, this promise will be fulfilled.
This was a statement made by Honorable Ambrose George, acting in the capacity of Prime Minister, in delivering an address at the 21st Annual General Meeting of the Dominica Agricultural, Industrial and Development Bank, DAIB, on Wednesday, November 27th. According to the Minister, despite the challenges, government has been able to raise some finance for the Aid Bank. However, the loans contracted must be paid at the given time.
From your report, I can conclude that the objective is being met. That as a bank, the contribution expected of you is being made. Your reports indicate growth of 5.4% in loans and advances, and is due to an acceleration of project financing in industry and tourism, areas of emphasis for the bank.
The Minister further noted the bank's contributions to government policies in agriculture and to partner with government to develop the pork and poultry industry, as well as the housing, tourism, education and cultural sectors. During the celebration of Dominica's 35th anniversary of independence, the Prime Minister Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, during his Independence Day address, highlighted a number of initiatives in pursuance of the government in an attempt to create employment and generate economic growth. This $5 million incentive is geared at just providing funds for the newly established entrepreneurship and mentorship program spearheaded by the Skerrit-led administration. In other stories, the police was called in on Tuesday, November 26 to resolve a parking dispute between the general manager of Acme Garage, Mr. Peter Karam, and an employee of Malice Taxi. Speaking with the employee of Malice Taxi, he stated he drove around the area a few times in an attempt to find a parking in front of the office, directly adjacent to the garage where Mr. Karam has a number of vehicles parked outside. When I realized I could not find a parking spot, I saw an empty space in front of the garage, so I parked there and went to the office, he said. Shortly after, Mr. Karam came to the office quarreling that he has to remove the bus from the parking lot. According to him, when he went to remove the bus, Mr. Karam had already parked one of his vehicles in front of him, making it impossible to remove the bus, so he went back into the office. A short time after, he was visited by police officers who informed him that Mr. Karam made a report of the incident against him. This he found strange, as he never had any previous incident with the proprietor. The police spoke with both involved and the issue was resolved, but not before causing a slight disruption in traffic on the street. Many of the residents who witnessed the incident were dissatisfied with the action of Mr. Karam, as they feel he is of the belief that he owns Cork Street and is above the law. And in court news, Kamisha Williams of Vekas has been fined for stealing $102.12 worth of items from Save-A-Lot supermarket in Roseau. She pleaded guilty to the incident, which occurred on November 22, 2013. According to the facts, the defendant entered the supermarket with a handbag and a shopping basket. She went through the aisles and placed a number of items in her bag and shopping basket and moved to the cashier where she paid for the items in the basket and proceeded to exit the supermarket. A customer who had been observing alerted the security officer, and Williams was stopped at the door and asked if she had anything in her possession she had not paid for. She told the officer what she paid for was what she had, but when asked to search her bag, she presented him with the unpaid items she had tucked away in her bag, repeatedly saying she was sorry. Some of the items stolen were a pack of Kotex sanitary napkins and 4 packets of Nescafe. Attorney at law Wayne Noddy, who mitigated on her behalf, told the court that his client expressed remorse for her actions from the onset and asked that she be reprimanded and ordered to pay compensation. Before sentencing, Magistrate Candia Judge scolded Williams, telling her in future she should consider her actions before she does anything to bring embarrassment to herself. She was ordered to pay compensation of $102.12 by December 2, 2013, or in default spend 2 weeks in prison. She was also fined $500 payable by December 31st, or 2 months in prison in default of payment. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next, regional highlights.